There's little debate that kids are better off learning in the classroom than at home situation, where a parent can only pay part-time attention to their learning. Now, parents across the state have scrambled to create space in the day and in their home where kids can learn. But when is it safe for kids, teachers, and support staff to get back in the classroom? That's where we will start with the Live Opinion panel this week. We welcome frequent guest Julianne Grimm. She is editor and publisher of the Santa Fe Reporter. We're also joined by line regular and attorney Laura Sanchez. And another regular is with us this week, and that would be Tom Garrity of the Garrity Group PR. Tom, let me start with you. There are so many people who have a stake in getting this right, and I'm just curious right off the top, what are you hearing about how schools and parents are approaching this?
Well, it all depends which schools or parents you're referring to. If you are, a single parent with two kids, one in elementary school, the other in junior high, this whole time is very trying because there's not a whole lot of school support, especially if you're in Albuquerque, to help you to look after your work that you have to do, and then also being a teacher to an elementary school and a mid-schooler. If you have the luxury of having additional support in the home, then it's you're feeling a little bit better. But if you are someone who also has access to like Rio Rancho Public Schools, where you actually have a staggered schedule in place, it kind of provides and takes the heat off for parents who are trying to juggle so many different things, and kids who are, quite frankly, just looking forward to getting out of the house and trying to re-socialize with their friends in a very safe way. So to answer your question, it really depends what school district you're in, what stage in life your children are, that I think really provides that lens for parents in the community to see how it's working out for them.
That's a good point there, that last point you just said there. And Julianne, let me turn this to you. The governor's made no bones about it. She'd like to move from the youngest to the oldest when it comes to getting kids back in class. And not to say that these kids they're not an experiment, but they're sort of a let's see how this works kind of a thing. What's your sense of it? How, again, picking up where Tom was on how parents should be embracing this opportunity or not, because we do have some doing, of course, still, a hybrid model. So what do you think about getting back in class now?
Yeah, I mean, not everyone has the same choice. Tom's right. It depends on where you live and which school district your children are enrolled in. So many of the large school districts in the state, including Santa Fe, are not back to school at a hybrid model for elementary school students, even though the state has said students in K through 5 can go back to school if the districts meet the criteria and the public education department approves their plan for reopening. So there are, 20 districts that are trying that out. Tom mentioned Rio Rancho. Socorro is another place where they have open elementary schools. And then we also got news this week. It's our first week of reporting on school-related COVID-19 cases. So the public education department reported 3 cases. And I think, as we see more schools open, of course, we're going to see more cases. And the question is really going to be whether those cases kind of stay within an acceptable level and whether there's anything that can be described as an outbreak in the schools. That's, of course, what the health and education officials are really trying to fight against. Though in Santa Fe, there's a school board meeting tonight. We're recording on Thursday, and there's nothing on the agenda about this topic in particular. The union and the school district made an agreement to do distance learning all the way through the first 9 weeks of school. So for us, that looks like the end of October. Okay.
Interesting point there. I'm glad you brought that up. Laura, when you think about the size of the Rio Rancho School District, I can't help but wonder that it's a pretty big district and has a pretty decent reputation, as a matter of fact, as well. But I can't help but think some of the larger school districts are watching this situation closely. Do you get that same sense?
I do. I really think that Rio Rancho is going to be a bit of a bellwether for the rest of the state. We're really going to be looking at what they're doing and trying to see how it works or how it doesn't work, see if the hybrid learning is effective. I think a lot of both teachers and parents, but parents in particular, we saw some news stories this week about parents being relieved to see their students back. It gives them a sense of normalcy for the children. A lot of kids out there are just wanting to get back to school to see their friends and to be able to socialize a little bit more. I think they feel very isolated, and we're seeing incidents of depression where there wouldn't be normally. And so I think that, that everybody's going to be looking at Rio Rancho to see how well that works or doesn't. And then hopefully we can replicate the results, the better results across the state.
Mm-hmm. Tom, interestingly, when you think about it, APS, Julianne mentioned that the next 9 weeks for Santa Fe, APS is online for the rest of the semester. And I'm just curious, and Las Cruces, by the way, voted to do the same this week. And local control is the issue. You heard that a lot about in this run-up to this whole situation. And now we have it, basically. We're seeing school districts use local control and making local decisions. Is this the way it's supposed to be right now? Is this where folks feel comfortable about their school decisions?
It is. I think that this, we are seeing the local control play out. Whether or not we're seeing the same kind of local engagement taking place is a whole other issue. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I think we see Rio Rancho is being very successful in doing its implementation are two reasons. One is it's a smaller school district compared to Las Cruces and Albuquerque, and two is that they have consistent leadership. Sue Cleveland has been in that position for 20 plus years, which is a great thing because it really kind of sets that mark as far as what's the communication level, what's the trust. Mm-hmm. What's the standard operating procedure and what are the what ifs? So, she's able to address a lot of that because she's had a long time communication, long time presence in the district. However, you get to larger districts with Albuquerque and you just don't have that same level of consistency, right. Regardless if the school is in the Northeast Heights, South Valley, West Side, everybody has their own way of doing things to communicate within that school community. My concern is whether or not those communications at the school level are making it up to the district and specifically to the school board, because you have some school board members, most of them, except for the one on the west side, who say, no, we got to shut things down for now. But you have the lone west side school board member who's saying, you know what, we need to really go back to a hybrid model. Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you mentioning that too, by the way. This is very tricky here in the APS world. Laura, college, got to get college in here. We're all seeing the headlines from around the country about students doing all kinds of crazy things that students do, when it comes to COVID and all that kind of thing. How should, if we have an outbreak at State or at Eastern or at UNM or wherever, Santa Fe Community College, it doesn't matter. What does that do to the tone about how people should feel about sending kids back to school at college age?
Well, I think what we're seeing across the country is students. It really reminds us of the lack of good judgment among students or adults that age, that they're just not exercising the same level of good judgments that we are hoping that everybody exercises during this difficult time. So I think that if we see an outbreak like this in one of our schools, we're going to see a lot of tension. Probably the governor reacting to that and starting to really tighten down everything again. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody wants that. We're seeing some improvements and we're starting to see some businesses open back up and having more capacity, and that's always good for the economy. But I also think that it's regional because I spent some time down in Roswell this past weekend, and I know that there was frustration in that area. They've seen a spike in Chaves County in that whole southeastern corner, and they're as a result are seeing their school boards not basically they're not coming back to school. But in addition to that, there's also not sports. And so in particular, I was hearing from folks that have students in the Artesia School District where sports is a huge deal.
That's right.
A lot of good athletes that come out of that school districts, and they're really concerned about being able to see a college to be able to get a college scholarship for some of those seniors.
These are real problems for them. It's
very big problems. Yeah. So yeah, it is regional.
Exactly right. Right at time on that for now. This group is back in a few minutes to talk about statues and monuments. It's only been 3 months since they were headline news. Now, what's happened since? We'll dig in.